So went to applied for a new job, right? Gone through the interview process, got to the medical stage. So I have to go do a full medical. Took a couple of hours. And
turn your head and cough kind of situation?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Didn't grab my balls. I asked him to, but he didn't want to.
Just a 1-finger or 2-finger prostate exam?
Oh, full exam.
Oh, wow.
Full exam. No, but he went in. We had the medical. And he's like, any history of depression or anxiety? I said, yeah. Used to have depression, and I was trying to think of the drug that I used when I was going through depression. And I'm like, it was a while ago. I couldn't remember it. I'm like, it was. I was like nervous on the spot. I'm like, shit. I think it was tritonium. And he goes, yeah, serotonin. And I'm like, oh yeah. Serotonin is the chemical in your brain, the happy chemical. And I'm like, yeah, serotonin. And then it all came back to me. And then I realized, I hope he doesn't watch Stargate. What an idiot. I was like, yeah, I can't remember what the drug was called. He's like, that's all right. And just moved on. I'm like, what an idiot.
Like the doctor's actually a fan of Stargate and he writes in the report, this thinks he's a Jafar. Like, this guy's nuts. Don't give him the job. He literally thinks he's a character from a sci-fi show.
It's funny because 30 seconds after that, he said, can I just see your stomach? And I didn't realise, but now I noticed.
Oh, he was just
checking for a pouch. Yeah.
I've seen that porn, though, where the doctor asks you to lift up your shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the symbiote goes in, not out.
Get Into Geek. This is episode 140. We're talking Stargate SG-1. My name is Mitch. Joining me, as always, Matty Gibson.
Yo.
We got Rhys Gibson.
G'day, guys.
Unfortunately, Brendan is not with us, which, I mean, I don't want to make him feel bad when he's listening to this. This would make you the last man standing, Matty. Have you?
Oh, God, it is,
Have you not missed one yet?
I'm sad and I don't have anything else to do.
I've never thought about it like that. But
Matty's been here since our last record.
Just spinning around on the chair, just waiting for it.
I mean, I was tempted to, miss out a couple of season 6 episodes in protest.
You were ready to set out all of season. I'm pretty sure once Daniel died in the penultimate of season 5, you said, "I'll just see you in season 7."
Yeah,
you're going to take the whole series off. Yeah.
I may take season 4 and 5 of Atlantis off. We'll see how we go.
Hang on, the last 2 seasons.
The
of
last
Atlantis.
2. Yeah.
Okay, once we get into things, Matty is gone. If you are listening to us for the first time, Matty and I and Brendan, if he's here, are massive Stargate fans. Rhys, he's watching these episodes for the first time, so we're watching it along with him and get some new and some old versions, some outlooks on it and seeing what we think here in 2019. We are up to episode 7 of season 7, Enemy Mine. We'll get into the old synopsis of the episode and then throw it over to Rhys, our first timer, and see what he thought. An SGC Nakwada mining operation on a distant planet is attacked by a native tribe of Unas. SG-1 is sent to protect the miners and discovers that the Unas are guarding land they believe is sacred. Instead of eradicating the Unas as ordered, Daniel races to negotiate with them before the Pentagon demands their complete destruction. Written and directed by Peter DeLuise.
Yeah, it was.
PD.
So the Unas are back, Rhys?
Yeah, man, this was awesome. Anytime the Unas come back, it seems to be pretty epic. The fact that the big wow moment for me was when all those Unas when they had the meeting. Daniel had the meeting with Shaka and Old Mate, and he's like, "How many of them?" And then they said some number, and he's like, "No way!" And he runs back. I'm like, "Oh shit, that's awesome!"
Yeah,
because he's like, he knows the word for dozens, and then he knows the word for hundreds, and then they're saying this other word that he doesn't know, and Daniel's like, wait, is there a nice word for thousands, basically?
And because that was the thing, when last episode the Unas were in, and I remember you saying they had 2 or 3 costumes, Unas costumes. So when they were doing the whole sound effects and they're running across, and I'm like, they're doing it pretty well using the sound effects and using the 2 costumes. And then all of a sudden there's 50 of them that run over the hill, and I'm like, oh shit, that is hectic. And then the camera angles where they just keep looking around them. That was
awesome. Old Mate PD in this one, he had 4 Unas in this episode. He had four actors in Unas costumes.
And he just duplicated.
Crowd duplication, changed their outfits, crowd duplication. So
that's awesome.
As part of that big army was just a bunch of Shakas, a bunch of Iron Shirts. It was. Oh, that was the name of the big guy, the leader. He was
right.
called Iron Shirt.
Yeah.
I was getting excited to think that we might be able to look down those roll of 50, like Rhys said, and see like the deterioration and lower forms of makeup and prosthetics. Like you get your chuckers and shit. By the end of it, it's just some bloke with like green highlighter on his face. Because
Just a potato sack on his head.
from 25 meters, you can't tell the difference.
One's just a grip with like dried Weet-Bix on his face or something like that. Yeah.
One's on his phone.
Yeah. Why's that Unas wearing jeans? But you're right. It was a good little checklist at the start because I think we said last week that we're excited because this one had Michael Rooker in it, and you know his guest appearance, and so it's like, okay, check Michael Rooker. Ooh, do-rag, check. Oh, Unas, check, and that was all pre-credits. It was like, shit.
Who's Michael Rooker?
Oh,
I'm very popular, y'all.
Oh, of course. Of course.
There's probably a lot of really good Yondu quotes in. What was his name in The Walking Dead?
Merle?
Merle, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Michael Rooker. Just some like those side roles in a lot of the 90s and early 2000s action flicks. Like, a Cliffhanger was on TV the other week. You know, he's obviously Sly's little sidekick in that. He's chasing Arnie in The Sixth Day. And
He's in one of the Jay and Silent Bob movies, Mallrats,
Yes.
as like the love game
father
show
of-
host.
Yeah. Oh, right.
That he gives a chocolate covered pretzel to. Remember that?
That's right. That was.
Have you seen that movie, Rhys?
No.
He Jason Lee is the actor, and
Yeah.
he's playing Brody or whatever. And this is like his way to get back at people is he wedges his hand into his own ass cheeks until it smells like shit. Then he pulls the chocolate covered pretzel out of it and hands it to Michael Rooker, and then like stink palms him.
Oh, jeez.
And
Sounds
then
like a great film.
Oh, it's brilliant. And then Michael Rooker's like eating this chocolate covered pretzel. And then the other guy, like, it's one of the London brothers or whatever, and he's like, yeah, but then you have to walk around all day with your hands smelling like shit. He's like, it's a small price to pay.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
So I'm actually going to rewatch all of them leading up to the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I love the Viewer Skinniverse. It's so good.
Wasn't he just like a dipshit character?
Yeah.
Like, he was awesome, but, oh, man, I hated him.
Yeah.
So bad.
I feel like any colonel that's not Jack is a douche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
We as the audience, we're supposed to hate them, but we hate them very easily.
Yeah.
Because they're not Jack. Because when Daniel went and got Chaka and brings him back through the gate, they're in the SGC. They're bringing a guest back who they've been told is like a friendly Unas.
Yeah.
And Rooker, or Colonel Edwards, is standing at the bottom of the ramp, and he's just holding that death gaze back at Chaka. And I'm like, I appreciate it from a
Don't
Michael...
say gays, mate. We're all inclusive here. Come on, Mitch.
Got him! As a Michael Rooker fan, I appreciate that death stare that he's giving because I'm like, I know that you can pull that off. If it was any other, ring-in sub-actor to throw in that role, I'd be like, oh, God, whatever. You don't mean that. But I like that from Michael Rooker. But at the same time, like, you've got no reason to hate that guy. That's you just being racist, speciesist. Like, he looks like the people that attacked your people when you entered their land. You've got no reason to hate him. In fact, you've been told that he is going to come and help you. But, he kept that up for the rest of the episode. You're like, dude, if you just shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down, things are going to run a lot smoother.
He seemed to me like one of those like badass colonels who's like battle hardened, and then he's just been sent on a mining mission for 3 months.
Yeah, you can
And
tell
then
he
he
wants
finally,
to be like the head of SG2 or something.
He finally sees some action, and he's like, "All right, we're going to chase him." And then O'Neill's like, "No, you're not." And he's like, "Oh, this is my mission, man." And O'Neill's like, "Nah, go back to the." And I found that he was pissed at them, both the SG, so probably O'Neill and Hammond for giving him the orders. But also, obviously, the Unas, and just wanted to kill everything because he's like, I'm supposed to be in there murdering them right now and seeing some battle. But
Time for some
instead I'm
ethnic
here.
cleansing.
Yeah. Been on that plane for 3 months, and all of a sudden O'Neill comes in and takes charge.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
He must be new to the SGC because he obviously everyone must have amnesia because no one seems to remember. This is pretty much the exact same scenario we're in back in Spirits in season 2 with Tanane and the Trinium. And, just think, oh, that's just a wolf, or that's just a raven. No, they're fucking really powerful aliens that are going to fuck you up for the mineral that you want from this planet. It's almost to the letter the same kind of situation. It's just Naquita now instead of Trinium.
Yeah, do we ever hear from Trinium again?
No, it's just kind of innately sort of alluded to the fact that, like, the Prometheus is built out of a trinium alloy, and our Naquita generators are built out of trinium and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
okay.
it's just we're still getting raw materials from Tanane and his people.
Oh, right.
To build, the Prometheus and 302s and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we don't see them again.
It just is.
Just is.
I know I said before that when you get another dickish colonel in there, we just don't like them. It's very easy to not like them. I found with the removal of Jack from the episode, as much as he was, and it being much more about Daniel and that, hey, let's think about this tribe and their background, their history, as opposed to your military interests, which is, it's been the Jack and Daniel argument for the last, 6.5 seasons or whatever. I found myself siding more with Daniel about this particular argument, I think, than I ever have, but I don't know whether it was because he was just in his opinion or it was because he wasn't arguing with Richard Dean Anderson. Where I can kind of I have to side with Richard Dean Anderson, but I also have to side a little bit with Michael Shanks because I love both of them and I love both of them in those characters. Whereas while I love Michael Rooker, Colonel Edwards was a bit of a dick.
I think part of it was the fact that we know the Unas as well.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why they got a new colonel in, so that Jackson could argue with him, because obviously O'Neill's been through the war on Shaka's new planet, and he understands them. He's friends with them, so they'd both be like, yeah, okay, we'll just leave him be or talk to him or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was really clever because this is, again, another one of those episodes that was written because the production has less access to Richard Dean Anderson, so they've got to write him out of the shows. Yeah. So that's why he was injured really early on. So that was almost a backdoor way to get another colonel in there. So it's not that same argument that Daniel and Jack are having, because you're right. You wouldn't believe Jack. If Jack was acting like Colonel, was it Edwards or whatever it is?
Yeah.
You're not going to believe it, and you're going to start siding with Jack. So I like the fact that we're able to do that, and then you could really side with Daniel. And like we've always said, we're the fifth member of SG-1, so we've been through everything they've been through. So we understand and respect the Unas because we know what kind of damage they can do, and we've lived what Daniel's lived in terms of understanding them as a culture.
Yeah, and they are our ally. Essentially, even though we don't know the Unas on this planet, obviously we know Unas. They are our ally. We know we can probably be allies with these. With these guys.
Well, and there was that little tiny throwaway line that I actually forgot until I sort of saw it again, where they actually reference one of your favourite Unas episodes, Beast of Burden, where they kind of lead that revolt.
Yeah.
And Daniel kind of mentions that they're now kind of like living in peace on that planet together. Like
that's right.
The Unas. And it's such a throwaway line
that
I was like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Because I think I might have even criticised Beast of Burden by saying, oh, we don't really get any resolution to it. It's just there.
Yeah.
Forgetting that there was that little kind of throwaway line.
But then bloody Colonel Edwards used it against Daniel when Daniel said, he led a revolt. They're living in harmony. He's like, well, of course, he led a revolt. That means he's dangerous, so let's kill him.
Yeah, exactly. But there was this one cool line that Daniel gave that I think really, I know even in this room and fans of SG-1 sort of do criticise Michael Shanks in the later seasons because he's not Daniel Jackson, he's more Michael Shanks.
Yeah.
But there's a line delivery he has when they're in the boardroom, sort of when they come back. And I think season 1 or season 2, Daniel Jackson would have been really like over dramatic about it and really kind of like, heart on the sleeve, bleeding heart kind of thing. But the way he says this is just so matter of fact.
They're animals. They are not animals. They are intelligent beings with a sense of honor, and if you underestimate them, more will die on both sides.
Like how quickly he throws that all away. Because it's fact.
Yeah.
It's not his opinion. It's not him trying to be the bleeding heart, trying to convince the military. He just says it matter-of-factly as a throwaway line because he knows that he's right.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about these later season Daniel Jacksons.
Yeah.
Is the old Daniel, I think, would have taken probably twice as long to say that line because he would have really elongated it out.
He was trying to prove a point. Whereas it probably goes back to what you were saying before. Does everyone here have amnesia? Because surely after countless, like hundreds or thousands of missions between all the SG teams over the last 6.5 years, how do they not know that what you see is not necessarily what you get? It's like, sure, these guys have a little bit more of a primal nature. They look different than us, and they growl, and they've got sharp teeth and stuff. That doesn't mean that they're simple creatures. Like, they're just as intelligent as us, but they're different, and they hold on a little bit. They're a bit more earthly than what we are, and so how do people not know that? So him just saying that is like, how do you guys not know this?
Do you guys
yet?
not get it yet?
And I guess the way he said that in that audio was probably it reminds me of that of that line he said to Jack before he left Jack in the infirmary, when he said, "Oh, it took me a while to what do you say, break you down?"
Oh,
or
they break you in. Or,
break you in. Yeah, I don't have to do it with a new colonel. So for me, like him saying it like that was sort of like, I've already convinced Jack, I've convinced Hammond, like this is a process that we've already been through, and you're just the new guy. You just need to accept it.
Yeah.
Like,
And I feel like Jack was almost on the flip side where he's like, well, no, this Colonel Edwards feels like he has to break you in.
yeah.
Like, because he's not used to dealing with Daniel. Like, there's
And not only that, like there's no hierarchy with Daniel. He's a consultant.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to bow down to
like
him.
that
and say,
great
yes, sir.
that great part early on when they first bring Daniel over and he sees like the big yoke and stuff, like he sees all the artifacts and like he's like, they've been moved. It's like, yeah, they're in the way. And Jack's like, go to your happy place. It's okay. And I'm just like, yes, I fucking love this Daniel.
That old mate that went missing and ended up getting killed, Lieutenant Bloody Ritter or whatever they call him. Why was he working alone out there? Surely, if you're on a off-world planet, there'll be a rule where you say, look, you can't go wandering alone, even if it is safe and we've been here for 3 months.
Yeah.
Surely,
Did they buy that back? Because wasn't he standing next to like surveying equipment, like that weird yellow tripod?
yeah.
So-
And he said, he could have wandered off and found something, and then found something else further away, and all of a sudden you're lost in the forest or whatever. But they didn't know he was missing until they went there or something, wasn't it?
I just thought I don't know how to survey and stuff, but with that sort of yellow tripod, isn't that like a 2-man job? Don't you have to have 2 people like a fair distance away in line of sight? And those little things measure up, and that's how they measure the height of the terrain or something?
Yeah, I guess.
So that was my own... They don't really talk about it, but that was my only kind of visual clue that maybe that's why he was on his own, because he was supposed to be in visual line of sight with someone else measuring...
Yeah, he
terrain heights
he
or
could have had the
something.
measuring stick up against the tree or something.
I'm by no means...
a stake in the ground. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think he was alone. That's why no one knew that he was missing until later on. They're like, oh, hey, where did he go? Tilk, go see if you can track him. And then they couldn't.
Yeah, and then he was the one strung up, wasn't he? Strung up in the warning thing.
At first I thought he had that bloody staff weapon through his neck. And I'm like,
That would've been
oh,
cool.
shit, that looks hectic.
I feel like that's the one thing missing from a staff weapon is like a big blade on the back end of it or something like that. Like, imagine if
just
that,
like a flip blade.
well, imagine even if that circular thing on the bottom was just like sharpened to an edge.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cut your toes off with that.
There's 2 different modes. Like when they fire it up and it opens up the top to fire the blaster, there's like another one. It just like
Yeah.
blades
bayonet
pop out.
comes
So
out,
Big
yeah.
bayonet comes out.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Sick.
But when they went hunting for that Ritter or whatever it was, something you guys may not have noticed is Michael Rooker. He says he sends Hansen and Penhall to go with Daniel and Teal'c to go and find them, and that's the 2 guys in the background when they find him strung up. Hansen and Penhall were Peter DeLuise and Johnny Depp's characters from 21 Jump Street when they were in 21 Jump Street together.
Oh, right.
So that's another situation of Peter DeLuise, because he wrote it, putting little bits of gold
Easter
in there
eggs.
like that, little Easter eggs. And then this is also the first appearance of Major Lorne. So Major Lorne is like that second in command guy there underneath Colonel Edwards, played by Cavan Smith. So this is the first of 2 episodes he does in SG-1, and then he does about 30 episodes of Atlantis as well. But Major Lorne comes from Peter DeLuise's brother-in-law, which is Lorne Loder. So we've seen Anne-Marie Loder before. She was that blonde in The Other Side, the space Nazis living underground.
Yeah.
That's his wife. Well, her brother is Lorne Loder, so he's named the character Major Lorne
that's cool.
after his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I love when Peter DeLuise does shit like that.
Lorne was the name of that kid in that Off-World episode where they had that machine that was a drug.
No, that was Lauren, wasn't it?
It was Lauren.
Oh, it could.
Lauren.
Yeah, you're right. It could be the same. Laura, the way
I think
they
it was
pronounced it could be the same, couldn't
I
it?
didn't have the subtitles on, but
Lauren.
Lauren.
Lauren?
Maybe.
Lauren? That's a
Maybe.
good one.
Do you think it would have been... I kept waiting for it to happen, and now in hindsight, the fact that it didn't, I'm wondering whether it would have made the episode better or maybe made it drag. But the idea
I believe
that...
you've got to say better.
Better.
There
We
you
should
go.
that. Why isn't that sound? Need that on my soundboard. If you had Iron Shirt?
Iron Shirt. Was
Iron
the
Shirt.
Eunice.
It was all there in front of us for him to look at Chaka as some kind of traitor. Because he was brought in as a mediator. It's like, here, you can be our translator. But it wasn't like he was dressed in human clothes or anything like that, and he completely left back his Unas
He was much
heritage
more
or anything.
anthropomorphized than he has been in the past. He
for
was
sure.
standing up more straight. We'll get to that because it's a different actor and stuff. We'll get to that part.
Yeah, and I guess it'd be different if we always read Unas language in subtitles. Maybe that's where the avenue would have been, but because we don't, we always have to go off Daniel sort of like picking up keywords to tell the audience what they're talking about. So I guess, there's no room for it to happen. But just the idea that Ironshirt's going, man, this is a protected, sacred spot, and you're telling me that we should just sort of turn a blind eye so these humans can dig the shit out of it up? You know, like
you're going to give me cake? What?
Yeah. Did you make that brownie? Like, why should I trust you, man?
Sold.
Are you going to leave that plastic here? You're going to make us have a plastic problem? It's going to go on your planet in 15 years,
We
eh?
got turtles here, mate.
So I don't know. I just felt like it was there. I was waiting for it to happen, but now that I'm actually saying it out loud, I feel the lack of subtitles, it would have just been too much for Daniel to translate, or for us to watch and just read body and face acting, going, oh, he doesn't like the fact that he's helping these humans out, because there just never seemed to be any animosity between the two Unas.
Yeah, I saw it when they first rocked up at that campsite and Shaka's there, come to my camp, come to my fire or whatever. When they first saw it, they're just like, oh, there's a human and some Unas we don't know. Let's, whether they knew that he was off-world or if he was just from another clan, who knows?
Yeah, he could have been on the other side of the planet. Like, there's obviously going to be multiple Unas clans sort of around that world. Sure.
So I thought it was probably more of curiosity from Ironshurt more than anything. But then obviously when they said, oh, we can kill the Goa'uld. That way you don't have to wear your bone necklace or whatever.
Make war with the Goa'uld. It was a really good phrase.
Which is way better than, is your mum's name's Martha? Mine is too.
What is Unas for Martha? I found it funny that Daniel did actually use that phrase, because you've never heard him say, let's just go and kill them all, Jack. Like, we had that moment where he's wanted to kill baby Goulds and that sort of stuff, and he has been angry at them because of what happened to Sha'Ray and everything else that's gone wrong in his life the last 7 years. But for him to actually kind of lie to Ironshirt, going, hey, man, if you just let us do this, we're going to go and kill all those sons of bitches. It's like, you don't want that to happen. You want to defend yourself, and you know that you will kill them if you have to, but you're not going to be on the front line going, all right, let's go and make war with them. Like, you're in a war. But I don't know. I just felt like it was Daniel just going, I'll just sugarcoat this a little bit for you.
Well, I found that really interesting.
Being a politician.
I kind of get the vibe like Unas almost communicate in a similar way to animals and stuff. They don't so much communicate with words as they communicate with ideas and emotions. So it's like he's doing the, and he's like, these Unas are never going to understand what a ship is. I can't do that. So I was like, well, we need to make ships so that we can fight the Goa'uld. How am I going to explain that to the Unas? Okay, we need this rock so we can make war with the Goa'uld.
Yeah.
So I really like the way that he was able to sort of dumb that down in a way, but not be condescending to the Unas in the same way.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But I think the one letdown for me for the episode was the two main Unas in a way. So the Shaka that we see, that's not the Shaka we've seen in all the previous episodes. So the Shaka that is normally in that makeup is Dion Johnstone.
I've got it written down to ask you. I just assumed it was him. Is it not?
No. So remember the fifth man, the chameleon guy that became the fifth member. That's Dion Johnstone. So in the past, he's always been inside the Shaka makeup. He was unavailable. He was pulling a Michael Shanks and he was off doing some theatre. So he was unavailable.
Actor.
So they got Fifth, the replicator, the curly-haired replicator guy that's obsessed with Carter.
Oh, right.
That's who's inside the Shaka
Across
makeup.
the universe.
So
it's not that. It's not that.
So that's Patrick Curry. So he was inside the Shaka makeup.
Wow.
So I feel like in a way it was, you could play it off, and that's why Shaka was much more standing upright and wearing more human clothes and had a dagger and all that kind of stuff. But I think a lot of the performance, because I think it was they said in the commentary, this was Patrick Curry's first time under heavy prosthetic. So he was obviously trying to figure out how to work the makeup and everything. So yeah, for me, this would be my favorite Unas episode. I think if Dion Johnstone was in the part, but because it was Patrick Curry, I think it wasn't quite my Shaka, but it was kind of worked with the episode. And then the guy playing Ironshirt is Alex Sahara. So that was the hippie from 1969.
Oh, really?
Zales from Spirits. He was Egar in Metamorphosis. He was the bald guy that looked into Nearty's mind and saw what she was doing, and then the other guy snapped her neck.
The
the Mr. Hanky guy.
Hey, you guys.
guys?
Yeah.
And he was also Shy One in your favourite Unos episode, Beast of Burden. He was the little timid one there. So I think he was really good as Iron Shirt.
Yeah.
But I think Shaka couldn't kind of meet that, which was a little bit of a disappointment for me. But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll chat more about it next week because those two actors are back next week, kind of flipping roles and prosthetics and stuff like that. So it's a really weird, incestuous kind of thing because Dion Johnstone still wasn't available. So they actually take over characters that Dion's done before for us. So it's super weird.
He's just sitting
weird.
at home going, not how I would have done it. Not my
Mine would have been better. What I didn't buy is the second round of being friends. When after all the Unas came over the mountaintop, getting ready to attack, and then old mate went up and go, "Oh, you can surrender. Oh, let's talk again. Here's a lighter. We're friends again." I didn't get that. They didn't sell that to me because if Jackson runs away or Jackson and Shaka run away, and all of a sudden they're shooting up your mate and killing him, you're just like, what the hell was all that? That was obviously a distraction. They've got men in the forest with guns, like they're coming to attack us. You don't ask questions again and then go, oh, can we have another chance with the meeting?
Yeah.
Like they would just attack, man.
I think the what was missing from there was like Iron Shirt and Colonel Edwards never have any like contact with each other. So I don't understand. Like Iron Shirt wouldn't know the gravity of he doesn't know that Edwards is in charge. As far as he knows, Daniel is in charge and Shaka is the mediator between them. So why does he care when Colonel Edwards is the one that gets down on a knee at the end? Like obviously from a primal, like if you think about it like a lion's pride, like all these invaders are all on their knee at his mercy in front of him. Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
I think it was because Edwards challenge or was staring at him in that challenge when that was Shaka, wasn't it?
That was Shaka, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's like, how would Iron Shirt know that Edwards had so much animosity towards the Unas?
Probably, he's probably just staring him in the eye again, I guess.
That was the only thing that was missing. But I guess from a writing point of view, it's like, well, if Edwards and Iron Shirt had met, one of them would have died. Like,
But even so, like, I don't see why Iron Shirt would have gone down himself and then gone, oh, we'll give you a chance to surrender. Like, why would you? They would just attack. They've still got that animal instinct, like, you've just betrayed me, therefore I don't care. We're attacking you and you will die, all of you, and we'll slaughter you. Yeah,
so I really appreciated him doing that, but you're right, maybe it wasn't earned as much as it should have been. It was like when Matty said, there was a bit missing because I thought that says a lot about him as a character and as a leader.
Yeah. When
they could have just went, F it, let's just end this.
Yeah.
But he still went, no, I'll give you this. I'll break it down on your territory now. You've been to mine. We're showing you our complete strength. Now, maybe that was it. Maybe he's like, you know what? You were talking to us when you thought you knew what was going on. Now, we've got you 20 people rounded up in your little field here full of rocks. We've got you surrounded. There's thousands of us pricks. There's only 4 of us, but we've multiplied heaps. Because we've got a lack of clothes in the tribe. But there is heaps of us here. Now that you know what kind of shit you're in, now you'll tell us the truth. Yeah. He's like, well, we're still not going to hurt you and stuff. Okay, cool. Now I know that because you know that we'll f you up if you do. Yeah. But you're right.
Wasn't that funny? Because when he told him how many Unas there was in all the tribes, that's when Daniel went, oh shit, and literally sprinted away.
Yeah. You think Iron Shirt would have kind of...
Yeah, and then so obviously he'd be thinking, well, this is obviously a trap or a distraction, and then all of a sudden my mates are getting shot in the forest. You'd be like... fair enough if maybe half of the guys with guns went back to the SGC and it was Daniel and
just those core 5 or 6 people.
Then sure, Daniel could probably smooth it over and whatnot, but not like when you got 15 guys with guns who were kneeling and still pointing the guns at the up in the mountaintop.
You needed that one moment to show that Iron Shirt was quite intelligent and wise. Because if you think back to when we first met Shaka in First Ones. And he takes Daniel back to his tribe and says to his alpha, no, don't kill him. He's nice. He's friendly. Yeah. And then that alpha is like, that I need to eat. So that's when they all shoot him, and then Shaka kills the alpha. So it's like we kind of, I think, as watchers, we expect Iron Shirt to act in that same sort of primal way. Yeah, there just wasn't that one little bit where it was like, why is Iron Shirt so different? Why is he that more wise and more enlightened?
Yeah.
Even if there was a point, maybe it was just for pacing, maybe it was cut, like when Daniel runs off, maybe there needed to be a moment between Iron Shirt and Shaka, where Iron Shirt's ready to just kill them all, and Shaka imports some kind of little bit of knowledge there. But you're right, Mitch, it's like, well, because we don't have Unas subtitles, who's going to translate that conversation between the two of them? So yeah, there was that one little sort of bit there missing that would make
a couple of good actors could do it, I reckon.
Yeah, that's it. Bring Dion Johnstone back. Yeah. Well, speaking of good actors, and I hate to bring it up. No, I don't hate to bring it up. I love to bring it up. This is another episode, much like last week's Lifeboat, where Peter DeLuise initially had the idea and wrote this last season without Daniel Jackson, and he realized, we can't really have an Unas episode with the right gravity without having Daniel Jackson. So he shelved it. Then when Shanksy comes back, lo and behold, we can do an Unas episode now. So that's the second week in a row where we've got great episodes purely because Shanksy's back.
Yeah, great episodes.
Yeah, well, I feel like last week overall was a better episode than this one, but this one I actually feel needed Shanks more than last week, or needed Daniel more than last week did. You know, last week someone else could have been a vessel, but maybe you needed Shanks for his acting prowess, whereas this needed the character of Daniel Jackson doing Daniel Jackson stuff. But for whatever reason, I just found him so much more, not believable, but I certainly sided with him a lot more. And I'm like, no, you need to win this argument, man, because these guys are just going to go in. This is Avatar 6 years early. Like, it's like,
pretty much.
Go in, thanks, James Cameron. You obviously watched this episode. It's like, we need this. It's on a sacred. Why did I not think of this before? This is Avatar. Well, God damn you, James Cameron.
And then James Cameron's like, I waited so long to record it because I needed 3D. Yeah, bullshit. You just wanted space between that episode and your movie.
I don't want like, green, goblin things and blue cat people.
Yeah. Well, and I love the fact that Peter DeLuise called this episode Enemy Mine, because the first ones back in season 4...
Haven't seen it, mate.
Oh, yeah.
The disappointment is real.
It was in Mitch's bottom 3.
Because you've never seen it. So that was basically his rip-off homage to the Louis Gossett Jr. movie from the 80s called Enemy Mine, where it's like, I think it might even be one of the... Quaids maybe might even be stuck on an alien. He's like there's like an aliens at war with the humans, and one alien and one human are stuck on a planet together, and they have to work together to try and sort of survive. So it's basically, first ones before first one was first ones.
You're right, Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, there we go. And it's called Enemy Mine. And so I love the fact that that DeLuise rips off Enemy Mine to write first ones, and then like 2 or 3 years later does an episode about a mine and just flat out calls it Enemy Mine.
Hang a lantern on it.
Love it.
And directed by Wolfgang Peterson. I'm going to watch this movie.
It's good for an 80s movie. Like it's not amazing. I think for the time it was. And the cool thing is Louis Gossett Jr., who plays the alien, is actually in Stargate in like season 9 and 10.
Yeah.
He plays a Jafar in a recurring role.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, Mitch, normally I don't mess with this with you. You have your own thing because you edit the podcast, you put it up, and you select whatever the screenshot is going to be for the episode. Can I make a request?
Absolutely, you can. If by request you mean, can I save you some work, Mitch? Yeah. God damn, yeah, you can.
I thought you were going to say, if you're going to ask me something that I can deny, absolutely.
Well, there's a shot at the end when all peace has been made, and Iron Shirt has his lighter, and he lights the little stick, and he turns basically to the camera and almost gives like a little thumbs up while Shaka's there. Gives me pure joy every time I see it.
Yeah.
I've done the work, and I've grabbed the screenshot for you, which is what you guys are looking at now. That shot...
you could have put the Get Into Geek watermark on it, mate.
Well, I don't know how to do that. So that's the part Mitch is going to have to do. But that single shot there just gives me so much joy.
That is a bit of fun, actually.
Just pure joy.
Yeah.
That's a couple of boys having a good time, isn't it?
Isn't it? Shaka's like
couple
still
of lads.
Shaka's still looking annoyed. He's like, ugh, it's a lighter. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah. Whereas Iron Shirt is just like, he's like 9 hearts.
He really is well dressed, isn't he, Chaka? Like,
yeah.
And then you look at, which I didn't ever, obviously his name's Iron Shirt, but like, just looking at that still image for a second, like wearing, some old Jafar gear, they must be really good storytellers, that you and us. Because how long are we meant to believe these guys have been free of being Gould slaves? Like, it's a long time, right?
Surely.
Yet they still hold such a great hatred for these people. They've got up, essentially monuments. To,
Oh yeah, those big warning signs of like dead corpses just hanging off.
And other
chainmail.
gold like the Jafar masks and
Yeah,
stuff.
the big serpent
helmets.
heads and
Well, they
stuff.
must still be around, right? If they're still wearing those bone necklaces, or maybe that's just
Yeah,
like
it might
a
be just
fear.
a cultural thing, which I thought was
Yeah.
a big deal too. The fact that Iron Shirt gave up his bone necklace. I feel like,
me too.
Yeah.
given that big fight in the woods was all over, one of the Unas wanting to go back to get their
Yeah.
bone necklace. For a second, I thought it was eggs. I thought maybe the Unas laid eggs because there's that one rock next to it that looked a lot like an Inu egg or something. And I'm like, do Unas lay eggs? But yeah, they just went back for that bone necklace. So
Yeah.
the fact that
What a dumbass! Oh, that guy's pointing a gun at me. I'll just make a run for it straight at him and grab it.
my bone necklace will protect me.
This'll work. But you did say how well dressed Shaka was. Who do you reckon he killed someone for that?
Well, see,
He
he's
sized someone up. Oh, you're about the same size as me. Rip his throat out. Take his clothes.
Well, there's this part of me that thinks like, well, if they're at peace now with that Beast of Burden planet, did he just like go to their tailor and a tailor's like they're like measuring up, and who would want to measure an Unas's inseam like to fit him for that outfit? And then how does Shaka pay for it?
Yeah. What is the currency over there?
Yeah,
And
bone
can
necklaces.
they get a job? Like, sure, now it's legal that you can integrate, but are there humans that will actually hire you?
Yeah, like I give you a bone necklace, you give me a pearl necklace. Is that payment?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that'd be it.
A bone necklace is just a petrified pearl
It
necklace.
can't be a pearl necklace. It'll be green.
Be an emerald necklace.
Well, they're obviously good for slave labor. Maybe that's what he does. He works hard in a lot of heavy lifting, because like at the end, like the solution to the problem, which I like the way Daniel like just sort of threw it back to Edwards, like, if this is okay, are they going to let us take the Naquadah? They're just going to be the ones to dig it out. And he's like, hang on, what? So we get what we want and we don't have to do the work. Daniel's
it
like,
costs us
And
nothing.
he's like, holy Daniel, you are the man. Actually, it was his idea. He's like, oh, shit. Hang on. So you didn't even have to do anything to ensure that we don't have to do anything to get exactly what we want. This is fucking amazing. But I like that. I'm like, that wasn't even a solution that any of the humans would have thought about, because why would you? Like, hang on. They don't want us to take their stuff because it's on a sacred site. Why don't we just make them take it for us? Like that. Why would you ever think that was going to solve the problem? And it did. And I'm like, that is actually the best case scenario.
Yeah.
I just love seeing the side, just to take it away from that for a second, but to the impending genocide. Like, while Hammond sides with his people first and foremost, he obviously does work for the Pentagon. He's part of the government.
Yeah.
So while at the start he's like, to Edwards, Chuck is fine. Daniel knows what he's doing. Send you off to try and negotiate. And then when they communicate back again, you got that other general who's the other bloke that come in
That was General Mustache.
Vagine.
Mustache.
That was
it?
General
Yeah.
Mustache with no mustache.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
His
why I didn't
mustache
recognise
is-
him.
Yeah.
His must did dash.
So that's another Peter DeLuise thing. So that's him from Absolute Power and is it Tangent where we first see the 301?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Peter DeLuise brought him back for this episode because he worked with
Oh,
him on
that's
21
right.
Jump Street.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that actor.
So him there going, look, we're going to have to, if you don't get it, this is what's going to happen. And you know that he's going to give you that, but then when they're communicating back to Hammond and Hammond's sort of doing that stare, past the camera into the wormhole, he's like, you haven't got too long and we're going to come in with deadly force. I'm like, dude, if you want to come in and lay down all these pricks, it's going to happen.
I felt like it was like Hammond was just saying that because the boss was there. And he's like, when the boss goes home, he just goes, yeah, Daniel, like, take your time. Like, it's no rush. Like, obviously, he just came from the Pentagon, so we just had to make a good impression.
Next day, they're both in the room again. He's Daniel, we'll shoot you first if you don't make this happen. But what, General? You hurt me, you four-eyed son. You get out of here.
Then he walks out of the room. Hammond's like, I'm so sorry, Daniel. Then he walks back in, and Hammond pulls out a hunter's knife from his bag. Do it, Daniel.
Don't make me.
Funny at the end when they made up, and then Edwards was like, O'Neill was right about you, and Daniel was like, oh, he goes, you are a pain in the ass. What?
Well, even at start, what did O'Neill say to him? He goes, just don't be...
Yeah.
And I thought he was just going to you. And
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I'm like, you were so close. Just be less you than normal.
you.
Can you do that?
Stop being a dickhead. So even O'Neill agrees with me. Jackson's a dickhead.
Yeah, he just does it. He's like you. He just does it because he has to. He puts up with it because he has to. I know that this is like 1,000 other locations they've shot in over the show so far, but I think we got a real perspective on the surroundings, because they seem to be quite in this valley. Like there was mountains very far behind them, but surrounding them. They felt like they were very much in this little void. And I just thought, okay, this does look like 100 other planets we've been to, but I really like this location.
Yeah.
This does feel like a very vast space, but very distant place that they are in. Like I felt the isolation more than any other time they were in some forest location.
Funnily enough, this is the exact same spot. Like where that mine was from a couple of episodes ago, the Jafar prison planet, Orpheus.
Oh, really?
It's the exact same spot. They've just spun the cameras around, have a different background on it. Like they're so good at reusing that location.
Wonder if that must be someone's entire job, is just making sure that they don't shoot the same location the same way twice.
Yeah.
They sit there and they draw a map and they're like, okay, we shot this 45-degree angle from this spot, so let's just move the camera a little bit and go over here. Yeah.
I do have, if you guys want to listen to, because it is just a couple little grabs here. They're back again. Gary Jones and Peter DeLuise doing the audio commentary. So if you do have the DVDs, do yourself a favour and have a listen. This is Gary Jones doing his impersonation of Don S. Davis.
The minute the camera's rolling, Don's like, laser beams through everybody, and then as soon as it's cut, I'm
from the Ozarks. How was that? Was I okay in that scene? Oh, sorry about that. I raised my arm too high.
And I was thinking about something. I think it was a beautiful woman or something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to concentrate next time.
Yeah, I'm doing some drawings that I'm putting on my website. Wait a minute. I'm Hammond. What are you doing here?
I've actually been thinking about him quite a bit over the last couple of episodes, where you just see him in the gate room and he's just barking out orders, very calmly, as they go off on their mission. And he's in an episode for 2 minutes. I'm like, this has been this guy's job for 7 years.
Yeah.
And we love him for it, but he just stands there the same. He never changes outfits, really. Like, how many different costumes has this guy worn?
If anything, he's just starting to wear less clothes. Like when we first met him, he had that same outfit, but he wore the jacket and the hat.
Yep.
And then he'd stop wearing the hat. And then he'd stop wearing the jacket, and then it was just the button up.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what he's had since season 2.
Yeah. And then no tie, and then now it's just a short sleeve.
Yeah.
It's just
Season 10's just a singlet and boxer shorts.
He's like SG1, just wearing the black tee, like he did in There Before the Grace of God.
The bandana.
This is his combat gear. And then there's another bit from Gary and Peter, which I think very much like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, how we can talk about something really insightfully and then just descend into toilet humor immediately.
Yeah.
Just another example of why I love these two so much.
Evil is just a point of view, depending on whose side you're on.
Right. And then, if you go back to the Machiavellian thing, is we're willing to kill to save lives, or we're willing to kill because we feel so strongly about what our cause is.
Right, depending on how passionate you are.
So that's always more interesting for bad guys, just in general.
Oh, absolutely.
To give them a good reason for being instead of just, I like to torture voluptuous women.
Yeah.
I need to torture these voluptuous women because I have to see if these support hoes will continue to grip.
I think you're drifting. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm getting far afield. Thanks, Gary, for putting me back on track.
I was going to say, let's keep this a secret from Brendan, but he will listen to the podcast. I actually want that clip there from Gary Jones. Every time we go off on a tangent, you go, you're drifting. Just whilst they're coming in to save the day.
Just tell the listening audience at home what you did that day. You showed up for work. What time was it? About 7?
That could have been about 10.
Okay, and you brought your paperback book, which I see you had with.
I always have it. It's always I either sit on it, or it's under my put it on the floor. I either got a book or Vanity Fair.
Vanity Fair.
Well, remember that time we were up in the war room?
Yeah.
And there was something huge going on, and I was at a computer, and you were shooting, and I was reading Vanity Fair, and I found out that what I thought was a rehearsal you had shot.
And you got the
And I was browsing through Vanity Fair, and you came up to me after and you said, we shot you reading Vanity Fair, and I'm like, are you insane? You went, well, from where it was, it kind of looked like a manual.
Right. It looked like a computer manual.
A computer manual that I was thumbing through, reading, about whoever, some Hollywood star.
It could happen. Just manuals.
Gary Jones reads Vanity Fair, eh?
Yeah. So I
say reads. Does he read the articles?
Just flips through it, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's going through, he's got some gate manual, and he's just been flicking pages, and then all of a sudden he picks it up and turns it vertical.
yeah, and does a fold out. It's like,
Check out the DHD on that.
This This is a big technical manual.
Double DHDs, if you know what I'm saying.
This is an 8 chevron address right here. So I hit IMDb hard and I cross-referenced the episodes that Gary Jones has been in with the episodes that Peter DeLuise has directed.
Oh, you've done some research.
So if anybody, I'm not going to go back and do it, but if anyone wants to see if they can find it, it's down. I've narrowed it down to about 10 episodes. So starting from season 4, you've got The Other Side, which is the Space Nazis underground.
Good show.
Crossroads with Shannock, with the poo cramps.
I feel like we're doing our top 7 list.
Yeah. We've got the first ones with the Unas, the first one we meet the Unas.
Hey, maybe I can watch it and see if it's
yeah,
that one.
you watch that one, Mitch, and see if you can see the Vanity
Oh,
Fair.
finally I've got a reason to do it. Other than the fact that it's amazing.
Yeah. You've got Beneath the Surface, where they're all stuck underground shoveling coal.
Yeah, good fun.
Yeah, Homer. Who is Homer? Absolute Power, with Daniel's dream sequence, where he destroys the world. So that's season 4. Season 5, you've got The Fifth Man, 2001, and The Sentinel, that big beaver dam that had the caretaker inside it. And then from season 6, you've got Descent, where they're all underwater. You've got Shadow Play with insane Jonas Professor Guy, or you've got Metamorphosis with Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo and Nearty. So in one of those episodes, you will see Gary Jones reading a Vanity Fair in the
I'll
background.
tell you what, aside from Shadowplay, there's some pretty solid episodes in that list.
The Peter DeLuise episodes.
Absolutely.
Mate.
Geez, that actually, I'd forgotten that he did Shadowplay. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's okay. We've all had a bad day.
We've all
9 out of 10 still good.
I tell you what, I will watch the first ones. Imagine if it's that.
Oh, can you imagine?
This is how we discover it.
And I'm too busy just beating off over the Shucker Daniel scenes to not notice that Gary Jones is reading a Vanity Fair. And something we didn't mention, I suppose, is what I really liked about this episode, given what was lacking, is we have, like you were saying before, Mitch, barely any Don S. Davis, barely any O'Neill, and no Carter, basically. She just has that one scene. So it really is a Daniel plus extras episode, because Teal'c didn't get much to do. He only got a couple of lines here and there. But yeah, it's very interesting given that we had, no Jack and like that one little Carter scene. Because they had didn't have very much RDA, they were filming like 3 episodes at the same time. So Carter was actually off. She was filming another episode.
Right.
So that's why they kind of wrote her out of this episode, so it was easier to kind of get everything sorted.
Man, imagine the organisation with that shit.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my
like
God.
Like, RDA's flying in and out from LA every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And so would that have flown on from last week too, where you said that they did all those cutaway scenes to O'Neill watching Jackson when he was losing his shit? Would that have, did they film these back to, like, I don't know if you've read about that, like the fact that we get less O'Neill last week and less O'Neill this week. Do they sort of get him for 2 days in the middle of productions?
Pretty much.
Film. Okay, thanks. Because
they
all you would have
said-
been is in a room and then in bed.
Yeah.
That's pretty much your 2 episodes.
Because I think in another commentary they say, on average, it takes 7 to 8 episodes 7 to 8 days to film one of these episodes, and they have RDA for about 4 of those. So I feel like he comes for like the back 2 or 3 days of one episode and the front 2 or 3 days of like the next episode, and then he's out for another week.
7 to 8 days to shoot.
Yeah, to like shoot and first unit and second unit and all that kind of stuff, and inserts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, usually it takes some.
Right. So, but the actors, they wouldn't be filming for that long.
Oh, not purely the actors. Like there'd be inserts with extras, and like a couple of weeks ago with revisions, where they would have spent a whole day filming with the stand-ins because they were inside those the suits in the smog. So it's like so they didn't need any actors that day because that would have taken them a whole day to film.
Imagine when they bring Atlantis in and they're doing 2 shows like that.
Yeah.
God damn, that'd be some money put into that shit.
Yeah, because basically they say like to hire a director, for a director to do 1 episode of television, it usually takes them 2 weeks because there's the 7-8 days of primary photography and filming and stuff, and the back end is all the editing and all that kind of stuff for the second week. So that's why typically for a lot of the time, that's why they were just going back and forward between Peter DeLuise and Martin Wood, because they were just swapping it. Well, one was finishing up the one episode, one was doing the other one, and then doing pre-production, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's insane.
It's time for the Get Into Geek Hairy Mailbag. Matt Dykes Writer has got in contact with us on Twitter. He says, "Hey, Get Into Gate, just listening to your episode on the Cure, and thanks to High Pitch Matty and his Luigi getting hit by a banana." Q. Impression. The cute girl sat across me on the train was looking at me like I'm a freak. Hashtag uncontrollable public laughter.
Oh,
Wow.
welcome to
you
my
go.
life, mate.
Maddie, that sounds like the start of a wonderful romantic comedy. You'll end up marrying her.
Right?
Unless, of course, you're already married, and if your wife's listening to this, that's not what's going to happen. And forget everything I said.
Yeah, and you probably shouldn't have put in cute girl. You probably just said the person.
Yeah, or you've
Yeah,
you've
'cause
dug your own
yeah,
hole
you
there,
put
Maddie.
yourself in trouble
Yep,
there.
yep.
Yeah.
What are you guys on about?
I don't know.
He's not married. Surely.
You never know.
Don't assume.
Well, I guess, yeah, he doesn't say.
There we
Marital
go.
status.
That's
added.
that's filling in the hole left by Brendan. Is right there. Mike Dean, Mickey D, the MD,
Oh,
the
Macca.
D dog, got in touch with us via Facebook, I believe. He says, "Gasp! I just heard in another podcast."
Do you say that? I think that's just for reading.
I don't
You got to
know.
do the actual. Oh, yeah, perfect.
Is that better?
Perfect. Yeah.
Let's start.
Yeah,
When,
do it
we,
again.
when we
Okay.
record properly, that's what you
Okay.
can do. Okay.
Mickey D. he,
Getting all that.
he writes in. He writes in.
Are you okay? Every time I do that, I always cough. So when
I
it
was
says
waiting
gasp,
for you.
I never gasp. 'Cause
I just heard in another podcast I listened to.
Why would you do? Well, okay.
Right.
We'll ask questions
Well,
later.
here we go. And I.
oh, Mike. How dare you cheat on us?
He said, well, he's not anymore. Listen to this. He says, and I quote, "You can't just be a guy fest. That is so essential to a balanced show." Talking about a podcast. 4 dudes are not going to have a different enough perspective to make things interesting. Mike immediately screamed at his phone, "False!" What does what does Paratalk Radio know anyways?
Oh.
Name and shame.
Dropping names.
Needless to say, I am no longer a subscriber.
Oh.
Burn!
On your Mickey D.
So that's I looked them up. That's Paratalk Radio. That's like a paranormal activities podcast.
Oh, say no more.
Something might be about the Parramatta Reels. And I said you shouldn't be listening to anything they say anyway.
Para. I don't mind a good ghost hunt, to be honest.
Yeah, that's
A
very
what
cool.
hunt?
A
No,
ghost-
I should have
ghost
said I
hunt.
said a ghost what because I was trying to make a joke. I totally f***ed that up. Never mind.
Elliot Hetzer emailed in, "Hey guys, I started listening to your podcast a few weeks ago and I've been flying through it. Love what you guys are doing. And if it wasn't possible to love you guys anymore, you guys throw in Petra in the episode Sight Unseen.
Oh, shout out to Brendan.
Sight
What's
Unseen.
Petra? Oh, right.
Sight Unseen. Growing up in a Christian household and the son of a pastor, I was limited to
Oh.
what music I was able to listen
Oh,
to.
Italian.
And just on all...
Yeah, well, so was your mum a lasagna or was she a ravioli? if
Whoa,
you know what I mean?
whoa. Don't ask if his mum's a les. Anya?
Petra was a big part of my musical repertoire for quite a few
Oh,
years.
that's right. Because didn't Brendan say they're like Christian rock?
Yeah,
They
that's
were-
right.
Oh,
Sight
Chris Rock.
Sight Unseen was they were singing about their faith in God. Sight,
Yeah, it's a wonder Brendan come across it at all.
something. Sight Unseen.
Brendan probably thought it was a parody.
Yeah, probably.
Clearly, this can't be real.
Yeah.
This is obviously a joke song.
Yeah.
The song referenced Sight Unseen was written in the early 90s. Yeah, they held on to that 80s sound far longer than ever should have been allowed. I say not long enough.
Absolutely.
The band started in the early 70s. It holds nostalgia, but man, are they dated. Again,
Yeah,
we disagree, Elliot.
Because that song was actually written about the Pope, you know?
Ah,
he
right.
sneaks around the Vatican sight unseen.
Oh,
Just, you
yeah,
know.
okay. Dated.
He wears slippers. See, all the '90s stuff's coming back, so this sound is good
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, so no hard feelings about making fun of their sound. Keep up the great work and the random references and tie-ins. No problems there, Elliot. I also really appreciated and was not in any way offended by the separate bonus episode where you talked about religion.
Oh,
That was the
Mitch's favourite episode.
Yeah.
that
What
was
was-
that was attached to demons.
demons. That's right. Yeah, I do.
Because that was the
actually-
first mention of like Christianity kind of faith in Stargate.
Yeah, we had a longer side episode that we took out of the middle of the recording than we did on the episode about demons. And I did actually like that. So you can go back and find that season 3.
Season 3, I want to say. Yeah.
There you go. As a Christian, I understand that my beliefs take a leap of faith sometimes, and you can't just believe everything you read or hear. I could go on about it, but it probably wouldn't fit in the hairy mailbag. Thanks to the great pod. Elliot from Ohio.
Ohio.
Cheers, buddy.
Good chat.
That was a good one.
Oh, Elliot, my man.
So we the next one will be... Oh!
Oh, shit. Get these stations,
It's been a while. Defense team stand by.
Might be Brendan.
It's good to know that Walter,
clear backgrounds, clear targets, where it was from the other week.
even though Walter's on the audio commentary and he's, putting out impersonations, that he's there ready to go.
Right?
Oh,
There's
always.
World
He's
activation.
Good
Ball.
technician.
Hi guys. So I normally listen to you on my drives to and from work because I have an hour-long commute, and it makes the drive go so much faster and the traffic seem less annoying.
You're welcome.
But I also tend to listen to you like when I'm doing errands with like an earbud in my ear, and you are the cause for so many people to look at me like I'm nuts, which I'm kind of used to because I laugh very loudly.
Who is
so
this?
Wonder
I'm
if she's
a
the
very
cute girl on the
tiny little
train.
girl, and I laugh like a hyena, and it is extremely loud. And typically, you guys have me losing my shit in the middle of stores, and people just stop and stare for a second, and a smile, and nod, and keep moving.
At least you got headphones in.
There's been a couple times where rather than laugh, I wanted to yell. The first one was when Maddie said that he thought Emancipation was one of the best. I absolutely, 100% hate that episode. I think it is one of the worst ones, and I almost stopped listening to your podcast when Maddie kept trying to say that it was a great one.
We almost stopped recording it.
Nothing annoys me more than Sam Carter and her feminist womanly ways that thinks I don't even know. Don't get me started. Secondly, I am now on season 6 finally. I'm listening to episode 1, and y'all are just ripping on Jonas. And
Well, we've got
I
bad
love
news
Jonas.
for you there.
Aside from Jack and Teal'c, he is by far one of my favorite characters that has ever played on Stargate. And just the hate for Jonas. I don't know. I kind of liked him over Daniel. Like, I like Daniel a little bit, but he's never been my favorite. I do love me some Jonas, and
Mitch and Maddie go quiet on that one.
I can't right now. I cannot. I have stopped listening to you for a moment. I'm sure I'll pick it back up here in about 5 seconds. But I'm a little angry, and I needed to tell you. Y'all are fantastic. You keep up the good work. Don't change anything. You guys are hysterical. Have yourself a good one. Bye.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
That was
So-
from Megan. Megan Shaffor? I hope I've pronounced that correctly.
Oh, it's Sh5.
Bow, bow, bow. I love that accent.
How do you spell it?
Yeah, it's a
I
real
love that accent. Y'all be hating on Jonas?
100%
Megan is
hate
Megan.
Emancipation.
Megan.
I'm so on board with you. Jonas Jonas is the man.
Yeah, look, if you
we've
can make
actually
it through if you can make it through Emancipation, now that you're in season 6, know that you do have Rhys as an ally for season 6.
I was actually in a Twitter feud with Damo Edwards.
Oh, really?
And Holly Monnery was, Holly Corbett was on my side. She said, I thought you guys liked Jonas now. I thought that was a thing. And then Damo says, no, pretty much. That's
you,
never going to
Damo.
happen. And we were just sending gifs and photos of Jonas and Shanks.
Brilliant. I was chatting with someone the other day on, was it Snapchat? And you can't really send a GIF on Snapchat.
Don't eat in the microphone,
Sorry.
Maddie.
I wasn't expecting to talk.
No, you're just f***ing recording a podcast.
I thought I had time. I was chatting with a mate because he owns...
Swallow faster, boy.
It's not the first time you said that to me. I was chatting with a mate on Snapchat because it's the only kind of social media thing that he has. And I'm so used to, like, from our chats, like, online, like, just responding with a GIF. And you can't do that on Snapchat. So I was at a loss, like, half the time. I'm like, how do I respond to what he's just done? Had to resort to Bitmojis. And Bitmojis are a poor man's GIF, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some fun ones where there's a Bitmoji of my face inside a unicorn onesie, or me as like, a Jedi with a lightsaber. That's fun, but it doesn't beat a GIF.
I thought you were going to say you had to resort to, like, recreating them yourself. And all of a sudden you're doing your best Chandler from Friends.
Yes, filming them.
That'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Do the one where the guy with the beard turns around and just gives that little
Slow
nod.
nod. Who people apparently for years thought was Zach Galifianakis, and I'm like,
Really?
You can't tell that's from like 40 years ago.
Who is that?
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford.
Yeah, can you believe with
Yeah.
a Zach Galifianakis
My
hangover
God.
beard?
I was going to say, it
Couldn't
looks
believe it.
like Robert Redford ate Zach Galifianakis, maybe. But
I think it's just
Wow.
all beard.
Yeah.
That beard would make Chuck Norris jealous.
I thought it was a bear, a brown bear. So, Brendan's not here. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I may have scribbled down a couple during the last few minutes of the podcast.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I thought I was getting away with it.
Oh, it's time to find out if Rhys has been paying attention. 5 essay questions here for you.
You know how relaxed I felt throughout that episode, thinking I don't have to answer any questions at the end of this shit.
Meanwhile, I was nervous because I'm like, what's the natural segue to the end of the show?
Yeah,
what are you going
What
to
do?
All right.
All right, so 5 questions, 30 seconds. Time starts at the end of the first question.
Load of talk, mate.
Just getting into my Brendan mode where I'm not reading anything and just... I've scribbled it down, but I can't read my own handwriting.
That's brave of you to say it like
channeling
that.
Brendan. Deadpan. No energy in the voice. All right.
You got to be funny though.
Fuck, that's the part
Can't
I'm
have it
missing.
all.
Yeah, that's the part I'm missing. All right, here we go. First question. Who is Colonel Edwards' second in command?
Oh, Lauren.
Correct. Name the leader of the Unas tribe.
That was the Coruscant guy, Iron Shirt.
Correct. What SG-1 episode is this a repeat story of?
Spirits.
Correct. Well, what were they mining on the planet?
Naquadar.
Correct. What was the Unas implement Daniel sees to figure out there's Unas on the planet?
Oh, shit. Oh, the thing you put on your fucking shoulders.
That's the one!
The cow thing.
Oh, the word we're looking for was yolk.
Yolk, yeah. What a ridiculous name for something that's not in an egg.
Hey, delicious though. Delicious. So unfortunately, Daniel...
Rhys, your father made you wrong!
Yeah, you, mate.
You stupid son of a bitch.
Had to be done.
You had 4 out of 4 so quickly there, and I was thinking about Brendan listening to this podcast going, oh, you gave him gimmies. How fucking easy you make it. It's bullshit. I would never let him get away with this shit. But, kind of balanced itself there at the end.
Yolk.
I don't even like eggs. That is episode 140 of Get Into Gate. Enemy Mine. We will be back next week to talk space race. Until then, you can check out all of our near 150, this is 140 plus specials, episodes of Get Into Gate on your favourite podcasting outlet. Just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast. Send us an off-world activation, getintogate@gmail.com, or hit us up on the socials. Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And if you want to do a little digging into our enemy mine...
Oh, well done.
Join us on Patreon. Just like Bob the Mime. Bob the Mime.
Bob the Mime.
It's like
How does he say his name?
It could be Bob the Mimi. Bob the Mimi.
Well, the joke is he's a mime, Matty. He doesn't talk, does he?
I get it. Sorry, I was already thinking about there's a drag queen on RuPaul's Drag Race, and his stage name is Bob the Drag Queen.
Nice.
Rather than like something crazy. Also, oh God! Why do I always get the weird ones? Not the weird.
Whoa, Matty!
Sorry.
Wow, brand
I
new
meant
patron, and
the
you
non-traditional spellings.
Wow, Matty.
Laurie Steinle.
How do you spell it?
Steinle. Steinle. Steinle.
Laurie.
Laurie. Lori. Laurie.
Oh, all right.
That's fine. See, these ones are better. No last name.
Steinle.
So welcome to Mike and Nick.
Mike
They're
and
two
Nick.
different people.
No last names. Yeah, two different people. No last names. Nice and simple. Maybe they just didn't want us to butcher their names.
Smart.
Very clever. So welcome, guys.
Mate, leave Laurie alone.
What are you doing against Laurie?
Jesus.
Leave Laurie alone.
Bloody hell, Matty. We love Laurie.
And before we do say our final goodbyes, though, a big shout out, a big happy birthday to one Christopher Judge, our very own Teal.
Oh, I totally forgot.
Well, I remember because it partners up so very well with one of his biggest fans, our bloody own Rhys Gibson's birthday tomorrow, buddy!
Thanks, guys. Yeah, 74 again. Lived a hard life, but, someone's got to train those Jafar.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, two.
It's just another day. People ask me, how old are you? And I literally have to count back because I don't keep count.
You
And-
should cut your arm off and count the rings.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, like a tree.
Tree, yeah. I am Groot.
We are Groot.
Until next week, catch us on the socials. Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. I am Sean Cadman. Talk some gate. And Matty, where are you?
At High Pitch Matty.
And if you also want to get into some kind of Twitter tirade, Jonas v. Daniel, where can we find Rhys?
Yeah, send nudes at the Flying Gibson.
And Brennan at the Brandon Gibson, asking him to come back to the show. He would like to be here, but outside forces kept us all apart this week, and we just had to push on.
We should put something out there for people to just like inundate his Twitter feed with something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For everyone out there who's that knows Atlantis, just flood Brendan's Twitter feed with gifs of Dr. Weir because he hates Dr. Weir. So just pictures, tweets, gifs.
The odd dick pic in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what Weir's got going on underneath that what she's got there. But at the Bren Gibson.
That's the one.
Yeah, Weir, just Weir him. #Weir.
Give him a real fun weekend. Until next weekend, we'll see you then.
Get Into Geek.